Time for mail call.
Mail call, mail call.
I love the enthusiasm.
We should really get a song for that. There's a Hey, Mr. Postman. You've heard that song.
Have I?
Song. Yeah.
The rhythm you were singing sounded kind of like the Beatles. Hey, it's your birthday.
Well, no, it's a song. Oh, boy, my throat is awful today, but we're going to get there. But
yeah,
anyway.
we're going to get there. So what we did yesterday was we did a podcast talking about Andrew Lincoln and new evidence that maybe Rick would be not dying. He would just be flying off into the sunset. If you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out. Just sharing a little bit of things, that like we found online. But we had a thought, too. We were like, we should start doing a mail call podcast because, we had people ask us a while back, will we be open and doing some kind of like Q&As and stuff where we pretty much just answer questions. So we were like, well, start doing mail calls.
If it worked for David Letterman, I think it'll work for us.
Yeah, and of course, we don't want you to have to physically mail us anything. So what we're going to do going forward is if you have a question that you want us to specifically answer, then just hashtag or put in big letters on your comment mail call, and that'll let us know that that's something that we need to address directly. Let's get into it. Starting, I'm just going from the top and going down here with Scrapbook Fashion out of Designs, and then it just has ... So I know the lines, the name's a lot longer. But so they asked, have you ever checked out our The Walking Dead camper on Facebook? We got the back wrap 2 years ago with our favorite characters. And we named our new Doberman puppy Shiva. That's awesome.
Hopefully your puppy has a better fate than the tiger.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely.
It wouldn't be cannibalized because the tiger was eaten by zombies, not other tigers. Anyway.
And they say we have plans to enter the Talking Dead's Ultimate Fan Competition. You should totally do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be, and if you do, please let us know so we can be watching and be like, ha! Chris Hartwick, we know them, kind of.
No, yeah. Dear friends.
But no, I haven't seen that, but we will definitely,
Oh, yeah, I've wanted a camper for years.
No, we'll check out their camper.
We'll
eventually buy a camper. Which, maybe we will. I wouldn't mind it. I'm kind of, I have a big 8-person tent, and I actually just recently bought a 1-person tent because some friends and I are planning on doing some just like hiking, camping.
A little walkabout. Sure.
Right, but I wouldn't mind having a camper.
Hey, man, I've been wanting one for I wouldn't mind living in one.
Especially one that sounds as sweet as that.
Yeah.
Just let everybody know.
Who did their work. Maybe they're a body shop kind of people. I don't know.
All right, so let's see. Jeep, longtime listener, along with Scrapbook Fashionado is also a longtime listener. But Jeep says, mail call. JP, do you live in a cave? Because I don't play the Walking Dead game, but I know who Clementine is. LOL. Okay, that being said, whose hatchet was in that group of walkers that Maggie and I forgot her name, just refer to her as cheap generic female Daryl with bow and arrow?
Well, first off, if you saw my house, I'd probably be better off living in a cave. That much I can tell you.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on another man's home. No. But then she says, yeah, Justin, I heard that there will be about a 5-year time jump. That's insane.
5
year time jump. Sure. We've never had a time jump that big. I don't even know if have we gotten 5 years into the apocalypse yet?
I don't know.
I mean, I know it's been like, it was a month.
That's close to it.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's crazy. So
I'm guessing that means that The Walking Dead will once again be like way farther ahead than Fear. Because
I imagine maybe Fear's going to do it too. Because you think Morgan and Fear left off with Morgan and them at that textile factory or whatever. I imagine that along with their bedazzled jeans that we were saying we hope they'll have, they might just do a time jump, kind of like with the Diamond, where it's been a few years, everything's going fine, and I don't know. I'm excited.
The whole world of The Walking Dead's going to jump ahead.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Okay.
I don't know whose hatchet that was, Jeep, but I was wondering the exact same thing. Because, when I see a hatchet, I instantly think of Rick. Rick's the hatchet wielding.
A new character from the comic, we also kind of speculated. Mm-hmm. I would be surprised if it was this person. But you never know.
But so, yeah. Let's see. Brandon Robinson says, how would you feel if the gender swapped Negan and made the character a female? The badass stuff she would have to do to have all the saviors follow her would be awesome. Number one, I do think a female Negan would be badass, but there's a problem with that. How would like Rick or Michonne would go downstairs and be like, Rick would be like, Michonne, come quick, it's Negan. He's a she.
Yeah.
I don't. But no, in an Elseworlds kind of tale, like what if Negan would have been a girl? That would, and Negan's a badass name for a chick too. So I don't know. I think it would be really cool because in order to get that much respect and to have that group, she would definitely have to be badass. Which, if there's one thing The Walking Dead has done a good job of, it's bringing out the the badass females. We've seen some females who would easily kick the majority of males' ass in this show. I mean, Michonne, Maggie. We've got some Carol. This show has brought out some very powerful women. So. I don't know. A female Negan would be...
I think what would be really cool is Maggie and Negan get into a big scuffle, and she ends up murdering him with Lucille. Okay. She puts on his jacket, slicks back her hair, and there you go, girl Negan.
Okay, I can get down with that. I was going to say, because JP's been saying for the longest time that he thought that Negan and Maggie were going to start hooking up.
Well, no, I said I'd like to see that. Yeah, it's a little far-fetched, but just, it's a fantasy that's played out in my mind a time or two.
All right. But so, if a female Negan would be really cool. I mean, I don't think you could just swap it, of course, in the middle of the show. But to see a parallel universe or something when Negan was, it'd be cool if a YouTube channel could produce that. What if Negan were a female and just show this, badass female Negan, and she has to be as perverted as Negan is, though. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We have to keep the same diet. It would be really cool. You know who could maybe do that?
Who?
Ruby Rose. I mean, she's got a badass look to her. She's playing the new. She's playing Batwoman.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's what.
She's got that, cool. So she's just got a badass look to her.
So you think she would have a harem of dudes up in her penthouse? I
don't know.
Just a bunch of husbands.
She could. I could see her doing it. I mean, she's just got I could see her in a leather jacket, kind of hair slicked back type deal. She's got a lot of tattoos. She's got that badass look to her, so I can see that. Let's see. Going on. Man in Paper Hat says, mail call. Justin, you've mentioned a couple of times on here that you were once in the electrical trade. As a fellow Sparky, what made you decide to leave the trade? Do you ever miss it? What do you like best about it? Hate worst about it? Thanks. Glad to see you guys are posting more videos. Boom. And we plan to keep trying that as much as we can. Sometimes life gets in the way, but we do plan to try to post several videos a week
life
at least.
Life gets in the way, but life also finds a way.
Yeah,
and we will find a way
Mr. Malcolm. So, man, I was an electrician for a couple of years. My dad's been an electrician my whole life. He was in the Army, and I think he learned the electrical trade with the Army. I can't remember if he went to trade school from the Army or if he learned to do it in the Army. But either way, the Army is where he learned the electric trade. He went out and got certified and has his master's and journeyman's and all of that stuff. And he's been doing it my whole life. And I was a manager at a call center. And my dad was like, hey, we've got an opening if you want to make more money. So I went and did that for 2 or 3 years. And I think the main, number one, I quit doing it because I got laid off. Along with it wasn't just me though. It was it was 6 of us got laid off because the company that we worked for did electric, HVAC, plumbing, and others, and mechanical things like that. So their electrical department, the guy that was in charge of it just wasn't doing too good at bidding and wasn't getting the jobs they used to get. And eventually, at this point in time, now my dad's went to work for another company, but at this point in time, now that company doesn't even do electric anymore. But once I got laid off, that kind of, I actually enjoyed electric work in a weird way. I mean, it was nothing was better than, you run, 100 feet of pipe and it looks good. And that was my favorite part of the electric. Yeah, part of the question said, what do I like the best about it? I loved running pipe and bending pipe, and which, I know is not really that electrical. It's just kind of to get the electric there. But pipe bending and running was my favorite part. It just gave me the best feeling to start at point A, run it through, and then get to where you were going and just look back and it looks all nice and neat. It just was such an accomplished feeling. Then you run your wire through, tie it in, and bam. The thing I don't like most about it was getting my hand cut in boxes.
Ew.
I had I would buy nice gloves that were supposed to be thick and cut resistant, and still when I would open up a box and be going in to either tie something in or whatever, I always ended up slicing my gloves
about
open.
A metal
metal boxes that you have,
a box kind of thing. Oh,
kind of you take the top off of it or take the light down and you're trying to untie things, whatever. My hands got cut up so bad doing that.
Golly.
And I mean, like I said, thank God I had those big gloves, but I went through, because I had Milwaukee gloves and I went through several pair. That was probably what I liked the least. I didn't get shocked that much. I got shocked like once or twice. It really wakes you up, you know?
Yeah, I would imagine.
Like, who needs coffee? Just go, grab some wine. And just. Yeah. But yeah, I kind of miss it. I mean, and then after that, life took a weird turn, and I ended up getting into to radio after I went back to college after getting laid off. But I do miss it. I do it some with my dad on the side still. A little side hustle to help him. But so yeah, cool to meet a fellow Sparky. Moving on, Ash Ketchum.
I didn't know that was a term. It was Sparky, electrician.
I've heard it before, but it's not something I hear a lot of.
Right.
You know what I mean? Ash Ketchum says #mail call. As a long fan, I guess long time fan, unless he means he's really, really tall, as a long fan of Walking Dead. And not of Moon Knight. My knowledge comes from your call list. Hearing you guys talk, I would like to see if you, as fans, can compare the characters' madness, luck, brutality. I feel there are aspects that they both share. P.S. Any good starter Moon Knight comic series? Peace, guys. JP recommended it to me. What was that Jeff Lemire run that you got me to read?
Jeff Lemire did a really good run on it before the current run. But I started reading Moon Knight with the Civil War, like the series that was running parallel with Civil War, and that was really good. And I kind of, there's been some good runs on it, some not so good runs on it, but definitely what was going on during Civil War was worth reading. But if nothing else, just pick up the Jeff Lemire run. I think it's like 3 trade paperbacks worth, and then just go right into what's going on now. I think Bemis is the name of the writer.
That's who's writing it now.
I want to say
now's been good. It's been really good, but the last issue or two have been very all over the place, man. It's kind of hard to keep up with them.
Like
this last one, I haven't even finished yet because I was kind of sleepy, and it just was making me sleepier because my brain was trying to figure out what the hell was happening. But good stuff, man. Would you remember the name of the run that you got the trade paperback of that you got me to read a while back?
I can't remember.
It kind of started me in.
I know it's Jeff Lemire's work.
Yeah. It's where he's in an insane asylum. I'll say that. Jeff Lemire, and he's in an insane asylum. So, yeah. And that was the one with the fire god, right? Was that the same one? No. The fire god was Jeff Lemire's newer run.
Well, that's the newer run without Jeff Lemire. That's the volume.
That's the one without Jeff Lemire. Yeah, okay. The fire god, though, before. Like, he was in there before, and then, whatever, and then now he's back. So, wasn't Jeff Lemire writing the first time he showed up?
Yes.
And this one is, I don't know, man. It was a couple years ago that it came out. But anything Jeff Lemire and Moon Knight, pick it up.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you really want what I feel, of the little bit I've read of Moon Knight to be the best Moon Knight, Jeff Lemire. Pick up Jeff Lemire's run.
Yeah. Anything with Jeff Lemire's name on it.
Just go to Amazon, Google Moon Knight, and when you see Jeff Lemire in the bottom, go ahead and add it to your cart. Yeah. Moving on down. Brianne McCann says, what FM station are you on? Well,
that's your call, pal.
It's like, I don't know if we should. I'm on a classic rock station. It's called The Dan. And JP is on a classic country station that is called, when I say classic rock, I mean, it's just more or less rock, but it's a lot more focused on some of the older stuff. But, and by older, I don't mean crazy old, like 70s, 80s, but it's got some 90s in there. But JP is a wacky morning show host for a country legend station. Yeah, and it plays a lot of what you did. It's perfect because that's JP's favorite, man.
Which I love classic rock too, and
Yeah.
Been trying to move your classic rock a little bit more not super modern.
We're working on it, man. I plan to get it there before it's all
Red
over
Hot
with.
Chili Peppers, stuff like that. Maybe some Metallica.
All right, let's see.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah, man. All right, moving on to Rain DeVos. What's your favorite weapon in the show, and what would be your weapon of choice in a zombie apocalypse? Doesn't have to be from the show. And they say that their personal favorite would be Jerry's battle axe. While Jerry's battle axe is badass, the only thing that would worry me about that is, man, like, you've got to be really strong, because if you get in a crowded situation, that thing's going to be heavy to swing around. Jerry's a big fella. He doesn't really have as much trouble with it. I would want something that's heavy duty, yes, but a little lighter.
Yeah, and battle axe, you don't have much defensive capability, you know?
Can't really block.
So if you get in a fight with an actual living person,
they've got like a broadsword, and you go to... yeah, I see what you're saying. It definitely would be a lot harder, because if you try to block it with just the blade, that's a lot smaller. Whereas, you could turn it to the side. I'm thinking out loud here, but yeah, I see your point. I don't know. That'd be tough, man. I mean, in the zombie apocalypse, I think one of the first things I would grab instinctively would be my Glock, my Glock 21. It's a 45 caliber. Holds 13 rounds, which I do have some 9mm that hold 17 rounds. So, but that 45, I just feel like would have a little bit more push to, even if I don't hit them in the head, to like knock them back. Give me a second where there's 9mm more high velocity. But I don't know. As far as melee weapons, what would be your weapon of choice, JP?
Oh, dude, gotta go with the samurai sword.
Samurai sword?
I mean, it's light, it's durable. I mean,
not as durable as they show it on TV and stuff, though. Keep that in mind. Katanas, I mean, even well-made ones, man, they're really, from what I've read, they're not really meant to be they're made for like assassins, like one strike hits, you know what I mean? Like you walk up behind someone and, it's like the whole sword fighting thing. They're like, from what I've read, man, like they're really not made for that. It really messes them up when you put them against. That's why I just worry that a katana would be, a little more fragile.
For slicing through, rotting corpses, I think it'd be all right.
Yeah, you could be. I think mine would be a machete, as cliche as that sounds. Get you a nice tough machete. It's long enough that you can do damage from a distance. You don't have to, because that's the thing. You don't want it to be. I mean, if somebody was to say like a knife, but you got to get right up on them for a knife, man, and getting that close to deliver the kill shot allows other walkers to get really close to you. So something that allows you to kill at a distance would still have some force. I've got a Schrade machete at home that I use to clear paths, and it's made by, I don't think Brian Griffith made it, but it looks like an actual sword fighting sword.
Brian Griffith from
there's a guy that makes
Family Guy dog.
No, he makes knives for Schrade, like designs them. But I don't think he did this one. I have to check. But it's really, really cool, and it's got like a really heavy like bevel there. It hits hard. It's like 20-something inches, so it would help keep distance. That probably would be my choice. That machete.
I'm trying to think. Voorhees on them.
If we're doing melee weapons, I mean, of course, I just prefer to have a gun.
If I was bigger and stronger, man, like a Highlander type sword would be pretty sweet. But
I'd grab one of my 22s. The only thing about a 22, I mean, 22 is a lot of ammo for it, blah, 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 blah. But the thing about a 22 is, man, I mean, if you're not hitting headshots every time, you're really not doing anything as far as to walkers. Now, if the threat was other people, then a 22 would be great. I mean, it's not that much stopping power, but it's still a bullet. You can find a ton of them.
Yeah.
And they have like no recoil. But yeah, so probably if zombie apocalypse was to happen right now, to start with, I would grab my machete. And I would grab my Glock 21.
Well, good choices.
The Glock's really dependable, too. That's another thing. If someone was like, well, I'd grab the 9mm. You're right. 9mm ammo is more available, and they do hold more. But that Glock, man, that thing will I've put mine through a bit of a torture test, man. Every time you pull the trigger, that sucker fires. So it's like I'm sticking with reliability, I guess.
Oh, you got to, especially in those circumstances.
In a perfect world, I'd grab everything I have.
Yeah. I'd get my good the 12 gauge I used to have. I like a shotgun.
I miss your Browning 12 gauge. That thing was nice. I can't believe you got rid of it.
It wasn't voluntary. Somebody stole it.
Yeah, that does. That's right. I thought you pawned it. That's right. Somebody stole that. That's right. That's horrible, man. Yeah. That was a great shotgun.
No, my Ruger 22. I sold that.
I was going to buy that from you. What? No, I forgot all about it till you said it right now.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, damn. That would be great in a zombie apocalypse. I mean, granted, it only holds 8 rounds and it's not magazine fed, so you will have to. But I mean, as far as just something kind of quick that you can find a lot of ammo for, it wouldn't be a bad choice. Let's see. Alex Langley says, I've been watching for a long time and I love the podcast. Thank you, Alex. Literally the only thing I look forward to on Mondays. Oh, come on now. There's got to be something out there that you look forward to more than us. But my question is for the both of y'all. Who do you think has had the best character development in The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead? For me, I think Dwight had the best, and for Fear, I think Troy. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Have a great day. Oh, you have a great day too. But I love Troy. I'm gonna agree with you on Troy for Fear the Walking Dead, man. Like, I mean, he was just such an interesting character. I mean, he was twisted. He was bad. He wasn't a good guy, but he started to do good things, and you started to but he was fiercely loyal to like Nick and them once he, I really like Troy. I really hated that they ended up killing him off, when they did. I thought he was great.
No, I think you know my answer.
Oh, Strand.
Victor Strand.
Ain't no question.
I mean, he's fiercely loyal, but at the same time, I mean, he's honest with himself about who he is,
right?
And he's kind of overcome that sort of self-preservation instinct, but
yeah.
It doesn't always serve him well. I mean,
I think for me it would either be Troy or Alicia, because Troy did come a little ways, but Troy still had some old tendencies, whereas like Alicia went from being just a teenage girl to being an absolute badass. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say Troy, but aside from Troy, probably Troy. Alicia. But yeah, I'm going to stick with Troy. I agree with you there, Alex. Troy was my favorite character, even though he got people killed. I just really liked his character. It's interesting when you start a character off in as bad of a position as they started him off, catching people and killing them and things like that, to you end up rooting for him at some point. So, and I think that's what they're going to try to do with Negan in The Walking Dead. But character development for The Walking Dead. Who's your choice, JP?
Man, there's so many to choose from. I got to pick one. Oh, man, I don't know. I've really liked Morgan's journey. I mean, I know that's...
You could pick Morgan.
Yeah,
I mean, he left the show,
Morgan.
but,
yeah,
it doesn't say, currently. So, I don't know. Back in the day, it was Daryl, because you actually saw character progression. He started off as this unruly redneck that didn't get along with people and was a loose cannon, and people were kind of scared to be around him, to becoming like Rick's brother. So, back when I really liked Daryl, I would have gave that to Daryl, and now I'm starting to like him again.
I was going to say, by the end of the season, you might be right back. I'm going to change mine. I love Morgan, but man, Merle, like I really like.
Yeah.
Really.
Everybody misses Merle, man. He was a racist douchebag, but he was our racist douchebag. But he had a heart
he's kind of like the Archie Bunker of The Walking Dead. I don't know if you're an All in the Family fan, but yeah, he was just, the lovable curmudgeon, and he ended up, taking a turn.
Yeah, I liked Merle, man. I hated that. I mean, I didn't like him at first, but then, like I said, that's just good writing. I mean, it makes you end up liking him. But back in the day, it would have been Daryl. Like through season 4.5, up through that point, I think from season 1 to season 4's mid-season finale, Daryl was like my boy. I loved his character progression. I mean, like I said, he went from being this loner to thinking about, he was thinking about leaving them, and at one point was going to rob the camp with Merle, to becoming a guy that cares about people and looks out and becomes Rick's right hand. So Daryl had and it felt natural. It wasn't all at once. Like Carl, I feel like within an episode turned into, we got to find another way, Dad. Whereas like an episode before, he would have been like, you better leave before you find out how dangerous we are. Daryl was natural. It took seasons to get him to that point. In season 2, we saw that he was a little more crowd friendly, but he still was a loner. He still wasn't 100% dedicated to the group. He didn't stay with them. He stayed on the outskirts of the farm and didn't want to run to town for Lori, so he was starting to come around, but he still had his douchebaggy ways. And then Daryl, you know what? I'm going to give it to Daryl, a character that I'm not that fond of. I'm trying to think of, because I was saying him in the past tense like he did, but I'm just going to let Daryl have it. Here in the last few seasons, it's kind of, they've kind of been struggling to figure out what to do with the character, but I'm going to say Daryl. I think Daryl, back when they knew what they were doing, had some really good character progression.
Yeah, man, he's definitely, getting back on track. The whole show.
Of course, Rick, too, man. I mean, I feel like I would say Rick, but I feel like Rick's the obvious choice for a lot of people, because Rick started off with this worldview of, like, we don't kill the living, and he was still kind of playing by the modern world rules in a sense of, like justice and not killing people and blah, 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 to, like, season 5, that cop was running from him, and Rick just runs him over in the car, So I'm trying to think. Carol's had great character progression. It really is hard to narrow it down. It would be Daryl and or Carol, because, I mean, Carol was just one of those where, honestly, in season 1 and even part of 2, you were like, just go ahead and kill her. Like, let a zombie eat her, because she's just getting in the way. Yeah. She's a liability. To now, like, she's one of the main ones you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, she's really had quite the journey.
She's a badass. Yeah. Michonne too. Michonne's had. I mean, it really is, man. I can't really nail it down to one. I'm just kind of giving a summary of everybody's. I mean, look at Michonne. She didn't trust anybody. She was very. Remember the first time I knew I loved Michonne, other than when she showed up. What? Which that wasn't even Denai Guerrera in season 2 when she shows up to save Andrea. They hadn't even cast her yet.
Just like a stand-in.
Yep. Huh? But Michonne, she started off, she didn't trust people. Like even when Rick and them brought her into the prison and were fixing her up, she didn't trust them. They didn't trust her. Rick was going to turn her in. I remember the first time I knew I really loved Michonne was that episode where they went and where they found Morgan. Morgan was in season 3 where they're going to try to find guns at the police station because they're going to go to war with the governor. They end up in Morganstown. That was still a great twist too. You were like, holy crap, it's Morgan.
Yeah.
And Michonne went off with Carl. Remember when Rick was staying with Morgan and Michonne went off to help Carl? Her interaction with Carl was special there. Like, it really was like a heartwarming thing. Really, like, you could see the start of a beautiful friendship.
They were like trying to get a picture of Lori or something out of some bar or something.
Well, said he wanted to get like a crib or something. But yeah, he wanted to get a picture of Rick, him, and Lori that was in the town bar or whatever. That was a heartwarming moment, man. That was a moment when you realized, like, Michonne had a heart of gold. She just would chop your head off if she thought you were a threat.
Yeah.
But that's when I liked her before, but that's when I really just was like, oh, Michonne's awesome. Like, just that interaction. Then at the end of the episode, Carl's like, I think she might be one of us. And it was where you started to. So that's, I don't know, Michonne's had great spin. And then you got other characters that, like Beth, I just couldn't stand. Beth, I didn't like Beth until she died.
Right.
I liked Emily Kinney. I watched, her on The Talking Dead, and she seemed like a sweetheart. And, I felt really bad that she got killed off the show. Like, Robert Kirkman was like, man, I really feel bad about this now because you're so nice.
Yeah, man.
But
I wasn't sad when Dale got.
You won't?
No, man. He was a. No.
You weren't sad when Dale died.
He was not a pragmatist, man. Like when he had that whole interaction with Shane when he took the guns down to the creek, what was he saying? I'd rather die than turn into whatever you're becoming. Something along those lines.
At least when the world went to shit, I didn't let it drag me down with it.
But it's like, dude, if you don't adapt, you're going to get eaten alive as you did.
He and Tyreese kind of had the same.
Yeah.
They were similar in the fact that they just could not. That's one thing about Tyreese was Tyreese just could not adjust to this new world. He didn't like to brutally kill people. He didn't like to have to be savage. Like, Tyreese really just was not built for this world. He was a tank. He was strong. He was a great guy. I like Tyreese as radically different as he was from the comics. He was other than being a big, strong guy, there's not much similarity between, him and the comics and him. But I like Tyreese. I really did. But he was not built for this world. Just the savage part of having to sometimes kill living people and, do things that you wouldn't want to do. So, and Dale was much the same way. Dale was unable to adjust to the fact that, hey, we might have to kill people. If they're threatening us, we might have to eliminate the threat. It's back to a very primal time. So they kind of mirrored each other.
Both suffered horrible deaths.
But unlike you, I was of course very sad when Tyreese died, but I was extremely sad when Dale died.
No, man, I was cool with Shane up until he just, I don't know what it was about Lori, man, because he smashed Andrea. My opinion was way hotter than Lori anyway. I don't see why he couldn't have just got over that, been like, all right, Rick, have your girl back, enjoy raising my kid.
I liked Shane a lot, man. He was a good character. He was a lot like the governor for me. I hated the governor, but it's because I loved him. I loved how much I hated him. He was a great villain. The actor David Morse, he did a wonderful job. Just like John Bernthal, man, playing Shane, did a great job, dude. You really knew Shane was going to have to go. And I love that it was a built. Like I said, a lot of people don't like season 2, and that's to each their own, man. But season 2 is really when I fell in love with the show. I loved season 1, but season 2 for me just locked it in, man. And that whole standoff with Shane and Rick still, I think, is one of the deepest moments in this show. It just really was kind of it just showed at what a pivotal moment we were in humanity, especially in Rick's life. Not only is he now willing to kill people, he's willing to kill those closest to him if he has to protect himself or his family.
Yeah, man, that episode, what was it, 20 Miles Out or whatever? That's probably still my favorite episode.
Is that where they carry Randall to drop him off or whatever, and then they get to fight
in the school bus?
Yeah,
and he has to go. Rick decides to leave him for dead or rescue him, and Rick's Rick.
Yeah, he rescues him,
his boy. even knowing what he was putting together.
Even Shane was like, we tried to kill each other, man. What do you think? We were just going to, forget about it and be, which, I mean, I think that's what Rick really was hoping. Yeah, no, and then I think Better Angels, is that the name of the episode where Shane dies? It's the episode before the finale. I know that because after Shane dies, that's when the farm gets overrun. So it's the episode before the finale, but I think it's called Better Angels. But
right.
I have to check it. But I love that, man. That's a great episode. But yeah, I can't believe you weren't sad when Dale died. Where's your heart at, man?
I was happy, man.
They killed him off because when Frank Darabont was shafted from the show, he and the guy that played Dale have been in a lot of work together quite a bit, and
right.
He thinks a lot of him. So when Frank Darabont was kicked off, from running the show, he wanted to leave, I guess, kind of as a easy protest, just kind of like, well, if he's not going to be here, I don't want to be here either. And so he left, but they said that when they wrote him off, when they were filming or, getting ready to film, him, that he did have like a change of heart. But at that point, they were like, man, it's too late. We've already written you and went through all of this. We can't, he kind of was like, okay, you know what? Because Dale, he lived so much longer in the comics.
Yeah. He really
had so much more of a role, man, which honestly, though, to be honest, as much as I did like Dale, it was mainly because the actor was such a friendly looking guy. When you read the comic, he wasn't gruff enough to be Dale. From the comics. I mean, when you really read the comics and look at Dale, other than the hat and the gray hair, I mean, this guy that played Dale was just a little bit too soft, like too sweet, too friendly granddad or uncle. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Dale in the comic was a man. I mean, he was smashing Andrea for goodness sake. I mean, he was doing his thing.
But yeah, so it's really hard. I know that was just like a 10-minute.
Yeah,
veering off there, but
that's a big question, man.
It is. It's hard. There's so many great characters in this show. Like I said, I love Dale,
Strand, and Merle.
I'm gonna go with.
Now that'd be a crazy buddy comedy, man. Strand.
God,
and
who
Merle
am I gonna go with?
This adventures together.
Strand and Merle together. Yeah, that'd be really interesting. I'm gonna have. I don't know, man. I want to say Daryl. Part of me wants to say Michonne. Part of me, I don't know, man. I'm just going to go.
Sleep on it, brother. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's tough. I guess it's just been so many. But, yeah. So there you go. A little mail call. We'll do one of these a week. So just remember, and it doesn't have to specifically be on this video, just on any video between now and like next Wednesday or Thursday. Make sure if you've got something that you want to be answered, just put mail call on there, and we'll answer all of the mail call questions between today and next week.
Yeah, we'll do our best to get to everybody, and it'll be a beautiful thing.
But yeah, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you've made it this long, there's a chance you might like us okay. So hit the subscribe button, and when you hit the subscribe button, make sure to hit the little bell beside it so that you will receive a notification, because we're posting a lot now. We don't want you to miss out on anything. There might be something that you'll like, so hit the bell. Video game fans, I'm about to, or it might be up by the time you're listening, put a part 2 to my Red Dead Redemption gameplay. I think I figured out the video editing software, so hopefully this won't be that 4x3 square that it was. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. It was kind of weird. Hopefully we've got widescreen now. But so, yeah, lots on the way. JP, you guys fuss at JP. Tell him to get his ass to my town so we can play the Walking Dead video game. Oh, that's why I'm doing the Red Dead Redemption 2 gameplay, because I'm just trying to get used to game commentating and getting my mic levels right and the editing and lining it up, just making sure we get it right for when we do the Telltale Walking Dead games.
Right, and if you're curious as to my level of expertise when it comes to gaming, check out an oldie but a goodie. JP plays Five Nights at
That was great. We had so many issues, though, man. Like, one of them, the camera stopped working.
Yeah, it's fraught with technical difficulties.
And the audio kept going. And then there's, like, one where I can't remember. Like, both of them messed up, but they both are gold. Like, JP
and you get to see my beautiful face.
JP does not play video games. So
I play old games. Like, I'm good with, like, Super Nintendo, stuff like that, but I didn't graduate beyond, like, N64.
Yeah, so if you know what Five Nights at Freddy's is, I highly recommend you watch JP playing that.
It was a good time.
I actually had a recording of myself and my little brother playing it for the first time, but it's I don't know, it just wouldn't have worked. I didn't have a mic. It wouldn't have been good. But JP's is fantastic. So watch that and then fuss at JP for not coming to my house to play the Walking Dead.
We're going to arrange something. We'll get a chopper. We'll do something.
But yeah, make sure to subscribe, like. Thank you so much. And remember, once more, I'm repeating myself like crazy, but mail call in a comment if you got a question you want answered on any video going forward, and we'll round them up each week.
Yeah. Oh, boy. And we're getting ready to sign off, right? You know what time it is.
What time is it? Oh, it's Comic Book Day.
Comic shop's getting ready to open. So, yeah, we got to split. We got to go.
We'll catch you soon. I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
On the Podcasting Dead.
New comics.